It's Mother's Day Eve, and in case you haven't noticed, I'm wearing this gorgeous necklace, which belonged to my grandmother. It was part of her costume jewelry collection that I inherited after she passed, and my 4-year-old Maggie, while we were playing earlier today, absolutely insisted that I wear this. So today, that was the rule. Mommy likes peace, so Mommy wore the necklace. The song I have for you tonight is a request, and it's Jesus Paid It All. So here's the account of how this hymn came to be according to the website independentbaptist.com. So this is reading from their site. On a hot summer Sunday morning in 1865, Mrs. Elvina Hall was found in her accustomed place in the church choir loft. But as the pious words of the Reverend Shrick's prayer droned on and on, her thoughts drifted to other things. She pondered the meaning of the cross, and the storied scene flashed before her mind's eye. High upon a rocky crag, 3 crosses scarred the afternoon sky. On the outer gibbets, on the outer gibbets hung 2 notorious thieves. Below, Roman soldiers drank and gambled, waiting for the death to overtake the poor wretches suspended above them. It was a public execution, but far more significant than they imagined at the time. Suddenly, the air grew dense and an eerie darkness invaded the scene. As the soldiers gazed about them in superstitious dread, a triumphant cry pierced the gloom. It came from the figure on the center cross. One word in the Greek tongue, tetelestai. Then he was dead. That shout of victory Christ uttered as he died is usually translated, "It is finished," in John 19:30. But it had another meaning back then. It was an accounting term. When a bill was paid, it was commonly stamped with the word tetelestai, meaning paid in full. And that is precisely what the death of Christ accomplished. So the website goes on to continue the rest of the story about the genesis of this hymn. It says that Mrs. Hall, while she was pondering this and had this scene going on in her mind, the prayers going on, wrote her poem on a blank page on the inside of the cover of her hymnal. And then at the end of service, passed it on to her reverend. As luck, or more likely God would have it, the church's organist named John Grape had written a tune recently, and the reverend ended up putting the 2 side by side, and it was a perfect match. James 5:16 says, "The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much." In this case, it availed a distracted chorister and resulted in the birth of this beautiful hymn. It is a blessing to us all that Mrs. Hall is a little bit more sanctified than I am, or her reverend might have been handed a poem entailing her weekly grocery or chore list, or worse yet, maybe a well-formed argument she had prepared in order to set her husband and kids straight when she got home from church that day. Not that I'm openly confessing to having any of those things go on in my mind during long prayers. But getting back to the text of this hymn, there are truly some gem phrases to be found. So in verse 1, we're reminded to find in Christ our all in all. He is everything to us. In verse 2, we discover that thy power and thine alone can cleanse the leper's spot and melt the heart of stone. And that reminds us that he alone has the power to change us from within. And we have a responsibility to participate in that, but it's his grace working within us that makes those changes. In verse 3, we read, "For nothing good have I, whereby thy grace to claim." And here, again, this is reminding us that his grace is a gift. That it's not given to us on account of anything that we have done, nothing special or inherent good about us. In fact, any good that we have is already a gift from him. So we can take no pride in our salvation or our good works which come from it. And then in verse 4, as many of the other hymns of this time period will take us to what's beyond this life, it says, "And when before the throne I stand in him complete." And that's just a reminder that he completes the good work that he has started in us. So that's kind of referring back to Philippians 1:6. And we're complete before the throne because of what he did. We owe nothing because of his sacrifice. And there is this expression, of course, that we've all heard, right? That the best things in life are free. But I would say the best thing, the ultimate thing in life is free. And that is salvation through Christ, because Jesus paid it all. I hear the Savior say, thy strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thine all in all. Jesus paid it all. Oh, to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. Lord, now indeed I find thy power and thine alone can change the leper's spots and melt the heart of stone. Jesus paid it all. Oh, to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. For nothing good have I, whereby thy grace to claim. I'll wash my garments white in the blood of Calvary's Lamb. Jesus paid it all. Oh, to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. And when before the throne I stand in him complete, Jesus died my soul to save. My lips shall still repeat,